Hey guys, Miss French here, and today we need to learn how to properly use our markers to get a flat color, just like we do with our colored pencils. Now, your marker has two parts to it. You have the pointed tip and the side. The pointed tip is used for outlining, which remember we outline to keep our pictures nice and neat, and we use the side for coloring. So, when you go to use your marker to color your Lego guy or girl, you want to start by outlining around the space you're about to color with the tip of the marker. You want to keep it nice and neat. Remember, outlining keeps a nice neat edge so that your color goes all the way to the side. Now, next up is to color, and for coloring we're going to use the side. We're going to lay the marker down and make a nice broad stroke all in one direction. And then switch and go back and forth. Now, notice we're doing nice, even strokes, kind of slowly, but it's keeping it nice and neat. The reason is each line needs to overlap, just like when you were using colored pencils. We do a whole bunch in a small space, keep the lines overlapping, that way the color stays nice and flat. You don't see the white of the paper through. If you go back and forth or in different directions, you're more likely to miss a spot and have to go over it. The more you have to go over the same spot with a marker, the more wet a paper gets. The more wet a paper gets, the more likely it is you get a hole in it. So if you see you got a nice flat color here, no holes in your paper, and it's not too wet that you can't keep working on it. Alright guys, Miss French here, and today we need to learn how to use our markers using a flat color, the same way we do with our colored pencils. Now, markers have two parts to them. They have the pointed tip and then the side of the cone. The pointed tip is used for outlining and the side is used for coloring. Now to do this, we use the same process we do for our colored pencils. Using the point, we're going to outline the space very neatly and carefully. Make sure you don't press down too hard. You want the tip to stay nice and pointed. You can't sharpen markers the same way you do a colored pencil. Remember, we outline to make sure the color goes all the way to the edge of the space and to keep the color inside. Keep it nice and neat. Now we're going to use the tip of our marker. Now we're going to use the side of our marker. We're going to lay the marker down on the side and make a nice broad stroke in one direction. You want to go kind of slow here. Then you're going to do it again in the opposite direction, overlapping the first line just a little bit. You want to keep going back and forth, nice and slow, moving it a little and overlapping. The reason we overlap is same thing with colored pencils. It'll make sure it covers the white spaces, but with markers, you have to make sure that you don't go back and forth. The back and forth can cause the paper to get too wet and break a hole through. You want to go nice and slow and overlap so you don't have to add too much marker to the space.